What's up, everybody? Dean Ruhl with O'Callaghan Sports here with Sam, Sudeep, and Chris, and we're here to recap OSU's 23-16 victory over Missouri State to open the season here at Boone Pickens Stadium. Chris, what stood out to you today?
Not much, but the defense really showed out as expected. Really good on third down. At one point, I think Missouri State was 1 of 10. The most important or most impressive part was the third and short defense. Almost every time, it felt like they were gone for a loss. Late in the game, they had the 2 sacks on third and fourth down. The defense really stood out. The offense not so much, but the defense was really good.
Yeah, I thought so too. The defense was definitely great. I think that was the main factor here, right? In a game where, you look at the offense, you look at struggles, but a lot of it, like Mike talked about, was so much determined on the run game and how much they couldn't get going. And Shane Ellenwood, I thought, played pretty well. Obviously, there were some mistakes here at the interception, some decisions. He missed, I think, Braden Johnson once or twice, some deep balls. But at the same time, when you're being asked to carry so much of a load, that is difficult. The Missouri State team is probably better than most people give him credit for. But at the same time, you saw, like, when he threw up those 50-50 balls, those contested balls, he was giving his receivers a chance to make a play. That's all you could ask for, right? And how K. Martin played, better Preston's face, some of these guys just get to the ball, they make a play. I thought all those aspects did well. It was just the run game was so sluggish, and the defense made up for it so many times with turnovers and stopping them and losing what they needed to.
And Sudeep, Chris, I think the note was, Missouri State was 5 for 17 on third down throughout the whole game, and I feel like they even played better than what was on the scoreboard because it felt like when the defense did give up points, it was because they were put in a terrible position. We'll get into the mistakes, which certainly led to a lot of that, but I think the defense, they blocked a field goal too, kind of special teams, but it was just a really good performance to clamp down when they needed to for the defense that, if we're being honest, it saved the game.
No, you're right, and what did Jim Null say today? Give us an inch, defend it. And that's the mantra of this defense. And you know how many times were they in position? You think about that LD Brown kickoff return that was muffed and immediately there. I think they go, 4 downs, 4 and out, right? Turnover on downs. And that's hard to do. But this defense did it time and time again. And the times they gave up a touchdown, it happens, right? When you're being worn down, 83 plays. My goodness, they went 83 plays. That's difficult. The reason they're able to sustain that sort of pressure all game is the depth. But that's difficult for any unit. And they kept doing it.
Sudeep, you kind of touched on it briefly, but Shane Illingworth was our starter today. A couple hours before kickoff, it got announced Spencer Sanders was out. He would not be starting. Shane got thrown into that role. Sam, how do you think Shane looked today?
Well, people won't exactly be clamoring for Spencer's job, I don't think. Shane, being thrust into this role where Coach Gundy said that they've known for, a couple days now that Sanders wasn't going to be able to play. And Illingworth, in his role last year, he'd shown that he's able to come off the bench and put up numbers where he can beat teams. And I thought he did that today. Tay Martin had a great game, and Tay Martin can't have a great game if Illingworth doesn't help him out and have a good game. So Illingworth was a good distributor, just made one mistake. He said it was just a poor ball on a pass targeted to Brendan Presley that was picked off. But I thought Illingworth did what you want from a backup quarterback today, which is put your team in position to win. And no, Oklahoma State didn't hang 50 points. They didn't win by, I think, 38 or whatever the spread was. But, a win is a win, and that's as cliche as it gets, but it's also kind of true, and that starts at the quarterback position. So on that box, Illinois Texas.
And I think, like at last year, what we saw when Illingworth was in the game, he gave him a chance, but they babied him along. They didn't use much of the playbook. It was just 1-2 read, get rid of the ball. That's what they did all of last year, and it was a run game, and they relied on the defense. It was a ball control approach. You saw him this year. That's not what the case was. They were letting him run the offense. They were letting him take the deep shots, but also those, throw up, like I said, those 50-50 balls, which are, they can be intercepted. That's why they're called 50-50 balls. But still, they let him do that. They let him throw it multiple times. They let him take control of the offense. Obviously, it's not easy when the run game is struggling, but he was the guy who was doing it. And the fact that he was, making so many great passes, you obviously know about the arm strength, the accuracy. He always had that poise and maturity. He continued to do a lot of those things, and I think he was really impressive.
Yeah, we go to that interception. He overthrew Brendan Presley, underthrew Blake Green. It was kind of one of those passes where the mistake led to the interception. And it was just the defender was at the right place. It was a little overthrown, depending on who he was going for. Still not really sure who it really was, but he played fine. But like Sam said, don't get confused. This is still Spencer Sanders' job when he comes back. And we've been hearing rumors that he was going to start all week, and when he did, if we knew for 7 days that he was going to start, he knew for probably that long too, if not longer. So it was one of those things where he had preparation, something he didn't have last year, getting thrust into this Tulsa game on the same field, and he looked a lot better. And this game means so much to his improvement. And his maturity and how he'll move along in his development. But he's not gonna. I think if he plays again this season, it's gonna be because Sanders is gonna hurt or OSU's winning by a whole bunch.
And when you mentioned that interception, I went back to look at it during the game time and exactly figure out who he's throwing to. Honestly, I didn't even think he was throwing to Presley.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to Green, but I thought it was just bad timing. Bad timing between quarterback and receiver happens all the time. And Ellingworth, he looked like and that's one thing, right? When you're throwing that fade route, if the receiver's beating the defender, you throw it up over him. If you think back shoulder, you throw that. But that's a timing thing. And when it doesn't work, it looks ugly. And that's why there was an interception. But those are little things that, any quarterback can have. So not saying, okay, it's inexcusable, but those are the things that they're going to work on. But besides that, it's throwing and taking those risks and pushing his offense forward, which I think he did a very good job of.
Right, we talked about the one big mistake he made. He made a couple questionable throws, a couple inaccuracies, including one down in the end zone where he had Tay Martin running open and he just kind of overthrew him. Same with Brent Presley once. But right on the other side of the field, he connected with Jaden Bray on a great 50-50 ball. And OSU, Tylen Wallace was a great 50-50 catcher. That's what made him so great. And same with James Washington and all these guys. And OSU now has a couple guys who showed off their ability. Tay Martin did it in the end zone right over there. Jaden Bray did it right behind us. And these guys, 50-50 ball catching is something that you can't really teach as a receiver. And it's just something that you have to get a hang of. And I think Shane Ellingworth said it. Tay Martin's a 90-10 guy who can throw it up something like that.
And I personally, you guys know I love Tay Martin, and I think he's gonna lead this team in receiving yards, and he's got all the skills. You saw his body control, his ball skill, when the ball's in the air. He's obviously great in that aspect, but I think he's more than that. At 6'3", I'm not saying he's better than Tylen Wallace at any aspect, but he's taller and he's got a bigger frame. Probably not as physical, not as strong, and obviously not the same receiver. But like Wallace, this dude is a great route runner. You saw it on some of those spot concepts where he got out to the corner, made a couple, made some of these guys miss, got open, and also, yards after the catch. We saw that in the Miami game last year. He's fast, he can go with the ball, he can, get separation before the catch comes. He can do so many different things. He can run the curl and the pitches that like Tylen did. He can go down the field like Tylen. He can do so many different things. I think he's going to have a great season. This was a great shot.
And a big storyline coming into this season was the offensive line. Is the experience going to pay off after kind of getting thrown into the fire to start last season? Sam, what are your thoughts on the O-line after one game?
Well, I know Shane Ellingworth said he loves those guys, and he thought that they played their butts off. Especially, he was talking more pass blocking, where Illingworth said, hey, when he was under pressure, it's kind of on him to get out of the pocket a little bit. But the other aspect to being an offensive lineman is run blocking, and the overall arching term of run game, that falls on a lot of people when it goes well and when it goes poorly. And I thought what was said today in the postgame presser from multiple people was that the run game tonight was not good. It was, quote, very concerning. And it just showed, this is a Power 5 Oklahoma State team that you'd think would kind of be able to bully Missouri State a little bit. That was kind of what was thought was coming in. The depth chart listed 4 people that, could start for this team. So we kind of saw the running back roles shake out a little bit. But whether it was the run blocking that was the issue or just, running backs not seeing gaps and stuff, it was kind of a subpar showing from the running game.
Right, Sam. And you mentioned how you kind of saw the running game shake out a little bit. I really don't know. I think coming into this game, there's still 4 guys listed who could start. And I don't think any of them showed out that they should be the guy who's playing. O.D. Brown didn't look good. He had a couple of really good runs, but other than that, the run game, the O-line was not helping him at all. Jalen Warren had a couple good runs. Again, couldn't get anything going besides that one touchdown he had at the goal line. Desmond Jackson had 3 really good runs, and then the third one was ruined by the fumble, and then we didn't even see Dominic Richardson. So it was, I don't know. The run game is concerning to a point, but also it's the first game of the season. We saw a lot of upsets this week. It's week 1. Teams are just getting back in the groove of it. A lot of rust. I don't expect this to be a problem going forward.
The run game concerning, but I think it's not concerning because the running back's not at all, at least in my opinion, because it was the offensive line that struggled. I think Missouri State front is better. They're a better run defense unit than they were past last year. They're a very good run defense unit. Obviously, FCS, they have the grain of salt, but they were good in that aspect. But for OSU, no Hunter Woodard over there. You're still figuring out your left tackle situation. I think the pass blocking was solid. Like you measured many times, Shane Ellingworth had a lot of time in that pocket, and there were only 1 or 2 times he really had to rush out of there. He was good. The only time he took a sack was, good coverage down the field. But as a run blocking unit, there were no holes, very rarely holes. And those linebackers, they did a good job stopping the run. So I think a lot of that falls on that offensive line, or maybe it's the Missouri State front. We'll see that. OSU will figure that out. But that's where the big concern is if you can't run the ball, then you can't, close out games. You can't keep the tempo properly. You go one-dimensional, you're screwed in football. That's just the typical mantra. But I think it's the run blocking that was really an issue. The reason you have 4 guys listed as or is because all 4 of those guys are very talented. I was surprised. I think the one thing we found out today was Jalen Warren looks like he's entrenched as a number 2 back, hopping down Desmond Jackson to begin the game. And Desmond came out. I think we saw a snap till the 3rd quarter. But I think Jalen Warren, I think, is a talent as well. I think I'm not going to say they're going to have a great run game next game, but I think the issue is more on the O-line than it is on the backs themselves.
So any closing thoughts from anybody?
A couple of interesting things I noted in the presser. Trace Ford, he was kind of maybe a bit surprised draft. I think it was Coach Gundy that said he'll be out for a while. I'm not sure the exact phrasing he used, but it sounded like I certainly don't think he'll be suiting up in a week from now. Spencer Sanders is expected back in a couple of days. He'll probably be the starter next week, but this team, in a game where it's one possession late, it certainly wasn't a game where you can rotate your entire bench, see what everyone can do for, a full quarters. This was play your starters throughout the game. Like Malcolm Rodriguez had 15 tackles or something. It looked like after 6 having on one drive, it looked like, man, I wonder how much this kid could go for. And we actually got to find out because he did end up having to play the whole game. So I think it was kind of telling on that front overall, just to see, what it looks like when this team is going to have to play for 4 quarters. And we'll see when the players that are hurt and weren't able to come in today, we'll see when they are able to infiltrate, back in. We'll see how that works out in the future.
Yeah, I think for me it was mostly surrounding the defense, starting with Malcolm Rodriguez. He's showing once again he's one of the best linebackers in the Big 12. Great run stopper, they use him in pass rush. He's so good at getting off blocks, block shedding, and getting there and stopping them. That's why he piles up 15 tackles. And he's strong at the point of attack. That's why he stops. That stop on 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, make it 4th and 1. That's all because of his strength and his tackling ability. And Devin Harper, I think, played well. He said he was a little uneven. At times it was, but his effort and pursuit speed. There was a play where he's running, 20 yards down that way and makes a tackle. That's the kind of effort you love to see. And I saw OSU play a lot more zone coverage. At times it helped. At times it worked. At times it didn't. But it's good that they're mixing that in and testing out some of those things like they talked about in the offseason.
Yeah, there was a lot of injuries today. I think OSU, I think the math, 4 offensive starters, 3 defensive starters, and then 1 offensive guy listed on the 2 deep was also out. And then bodies kept falling in the game too. So the injuries are a little concerning, especially knowing who they are. Trace Ford being one of them, borderline All-American last year, and then tears his ACL, and then doesn't even get a game back before he's seemingly out for a longer period of time. And Colin Clay, he was supposed to be another guy on the defensive line to watch for. He's quote, I think Gundy said won't be back. So injuries could be concerning to a point where you're losing a lot of these guys. Where OSU was supposed to be a pretty deep team coming in, now it's looking like they're really not. But it's just something to watch for. Logan Carter's out a while, but as these newer guys get more time, I think that solves itself.
All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in. This has been Dean Ruhl with O'Colly Sports, accompanied by Sam Hutchens, Sudeep, Tumma, and Chris Becker. And we'll be back next week for our game coverage of Tulsa.